It's time to get lost in our fury and violent hatred. Seems all of them are going to involve a cat and mouse with the cyber demon in one form or another, this one in a wooden base surrounded by lava. I don't know if there's an easier way to kill the cyber demon, but I used a telefrag, which is a lot harder than you'd think. I had to pay Trial and his friend Error a visit. Gotta say, the actual map itself isn't really that remarkable, at least the parts of the map that are mandatory that aren't edging the outside. The map's pretty cramped when you don't take into account all that lava that you aren't really supposed to be in outside of the one teleporter at the edge. This is a map that relies more on the cyber demon gimmick than being all that special on its own terms, outside of the 30 seconds and it's gone secret. We can recollect what's ours in Fragments of Sanity. I could be clever and say this map fractured my sanity, but no, actually the map's alright, even if alright isn't exactly great. Seems Romero realized the player probably has a plasma rifle and BFG at this point because the expected cyber demon is just an in and out kind of thing with you quickly disposing of him. Like the previous map, it has Tag Base infected by hell, but this time the hell is far more prominent, leaving only Fragments of Sanity.
Roll credits.
The ending with a dark descending room wasn't my favorite, but at least shotgun sergeants aren't nearly as jerkish as revenants. Overall, this map is certainly the most map ever. It's got the expected beats like the cyber demon, but it's not exactly special or anything. It's time to feel hopeless about the hellish circle and abyss of despair. Yep, it's a boss map, but to its credit it has more than just a boss with 2 keys to grab down paths of monsters. Given Romero's been spamming cyber demons all over this episode, your final opponent is the Spider Mastermind, and also 2 cyber demons because I guess old habits die hard. Ended up making a gotcha situation where the Mastermind fights one of the cyber demons and surprisingly wins the match, probably because of the slow-moving lifts. Even after that, it's a few more enemies to the exit, but some imps and cacodemons and one single baron are almost laughable after what you've been through. I like it. It's a boss map, so it's got less depth, but it's actually pretty feature-packed, more akin to Onto the Cruel. It's time to wander the cold black air in Twilight Desolation. The best way I can describe this is violent hatred, but better, also being surrounded by lava, but having more buildings and more room. The cyber demon also appears at the end instead of being a constant presence, and I telefragged him much easier by baiting him into one and following. It even has a 30 seconds to permanently gone secret, but this one has a plasma rifle, so it's a bit more enticing. That's not me saying the map is great, the individual buildings are still cramped more than entering an elevator with a whole football team, but it's better. Best way to describe it is it could be better, but it could so also definitely be worse. I had fun with it and it looks pretty cool aesthetically, which is a handy bonus. It's time to feel endless fear and descent into terror. Ah yes, I do love a fine roller coaster ride where you're steered from set piece to set piece of thrills until you reach the end of it. To the map's credit, it's got a pretty massive sense of scale, and Romero must have realized he was going overboard with the cyber demons because it's back to 1 again. The dark room waiting for the floors to raise and lower though is easily the low point. Ain't nobody got time for the room to decide to shift around. Pretty dope ending though, with a little castle wall where you have to shoot the red torches to open up the exit with one last mob of enemies. When I said it's a fine roller coaster ride, I mean that while I like to bust on maps for being linear, it was still a pretty good thrill ride with a good aesthetic. It's time to seethe in the shadows and cursed darkness. Seems the gloves are more than coming off this time around, because this map starts you off surrounded by enemies and you end up with a cyber demon stalking you. You can use a secret to trigger a crusher ceiling to kill the cyber demon, but if you don't know about that, this map is surprisingly brutal on ultra-violence. The actual design is the usual fire and brimstone, but the blue sky was a unique choice. I guess hell actually did freeze over, or at least its atmosphere. It's a good thing Doom has infighting because I actually used the cyber demon to my advantage to kill the 2 barons at the end for me. With the amped up difficulty, abundant secrets, and infernal aesthetic, it more than leaves one hell of a first impression, and yes, the pun was intended. It's time to deliver onto those other guys in Wrathful Reckoning. I'm giving it a 7.8 out of 10 because it has too much radioactive water in it. Obvious jokes aside, this is another pretty decent map with tightly designed, if kind of linear rooms with platforming, catwalking, and rocket fire avoiding. Seems Romero no longer thought one cyber demon was enough because this one has 2, even if one has a secret you can use to telefrag it. The other one basically having to be engaged in nuclear waste unless you feel like dodging rockets and narrow stairways was kind of annoying, but at least you got the BFG. Credit where credit is due, it's got nice design in many of its rooms, even if there's a few irritations I wasn't exactly the president of the fan club of. It's time to break things apart in Shattered Homecoming. I don't know where you're getting off, Romero, making it aesthetically look like knee-deep in the dead. It's totally not making me feel nostalgic and biased or anything. One really cool thing too is that a couple of spots have hell seeping into the base, giving it a bit of an Inferno vibe. There's also a Cyber Demon, but this time you don't really have to alert him too early, and you can find a BFG pretty easily to put him out of your misery if you know how to time it. There's even an entire other base that's only accessible through a secret that's also meant to be the multiplayer section. Look, it's not like I'm loving this map or anything with aesthetics and actually pretty fun gameplay or anything, Babaka. It's time for a tidal wave of revenge and vengeance unleashed. Right off the bat, it's a get 3 keys and choose the order map, which gives it a lot of street cred as me who prefers freedom of exploration. However, as you poke around, you might find even more rockets flung in your face because this map has a whopping 3 cyber demons in it. The keys are basically platforming over lava, waiting for a big elevator to different floors, and a maze with one of said cyber demons. The cyber demon leading into the exit annoyed me quite a bit. That stubborn thing just did not want to die despite a flood of plasma. Using several cyber demons, especially in a tight maze, is where it can get a bit cheap, but I can't deny my bias towards the non-linear spirit, so props to it. It's time to overview this latest batch of hellish delights. Romero continues his pattern of shooting eyeballs, but has added a new one of having a weirdly large amount of cyber demons everywhere, some cases several of them. The aesthetics seem to be a mix of the hellish themes of the first Sigil with Knee Deep in the Dead, which I generally enjoyed, calling nostalgia, but it gave familiar vibes. Ending it with a spider mastermind after so many cyber demons was pretty funny, akin to Thy Flesh Consumed on steroids, but having 2 cyber demons also there was pretty fitting. The only thing I wasn't a fan of, I know shocker, is when the maps were more on the linear side. I like it when there's room to explore around or even choose your path, which to me means which first. Despite the complaints, it was still a pretty good WAD. I'd say overall better than the first Sigil, and fittingly a pretty tough experience on Ultraviolence if you're a Doom veteran.